Hello, everybody at Absolute Tabletop. Tim and James and the other people that I haven't met because I haven't done the proper research for this. Tim asked me to go through your Copper Jackals book and your Deep Vault book, so I thought I would pull it up on my computer and record myself as I was going through your product here and kind of give my initial impressions. I figure the best thing that any content producer, whether for video games, for books, etc., is to be able to look at reactions, first impressions, and uncut, unedited, anything they say or do or at. When you're getting ready to release a product. So this is the raw video footage of everything that I am doing when it comes just as soon as I crack your book open. So what else? Let me preface this with giving you the knowledge that I went to school to be a literature teacher, and I know the worst thing that I can possibly do for you is to look through it and pat you on the head and tell you good job and hand it back. I went to a bunch of poetry classes, a bunch of writing classes where that was all that happened, and I don't feel like I ever grew or changed or got any better, and it felt like a serious waste of money on my part in college. So there will be open criticism. You can take it into account, ignore it, reshape, change, whatever you like. I know you guys have thick skin because I've been watching Destroy Artifact, and you guys talk about how inspiration can be taken from other things, and you should always take it as a compliment when something reminds somebody else of something else that's really cool. So, just a plug for you guys. Absolute Artifact is really good. I've been listening to it a lot lately. But okay, so let's get into this. First impressions, I have not looked at anything yet. This is just the video of what I am saying and doing while I look through your books. So take it at face value. All of you that are watching at home that are not a part of Absolute Tabletop, again, this is not a finished product. They asked me to look it over and give me their feedback, or give them my feedback, and etc. I got permission to show the contents of the book, to show the pictures, to show the text, etc. So this is hopefully will be relatively well thought out. So let's quit farting around and get into this. Record. Okay, so Dragon Grin, the Copper Jackals, Soldiers Without Compromise. I love simple covers, by the way. The nice symbol, the black. How much more black can this be? The answer is none. None more black. Tim and James Kearney? I don't know. Okay. Grin. Pronunciation. Grin. Etymology from the Titan speak blah blah to mean a mass grave or to rise honoring the dead. Cool. Okay. Got all of our copyright information, and special thanks to Tim, special thanks to James, P.O. boxes, good. Dedications. Ooh, am I in here? Special thanks to playtesters. No, I did not playtest this. I was in the Iron Heart of Innis, which takes place in Dragon Grin, so I got a very small sliver of a much larger product, or a much larger project, I'm willing to bet. So, all these other people have played in Dragon Grin? Holy shit. I should start watching your in-game videos. They're like 3 hours long, so I don't get as much chance to watch the provokers or anything like I really want to most of the time. But if all these people have been through your setting, then holy crap. Makes me feel like I've got ADD because I'm always hopping from one place to another, and none of these. I think that's one of the big differences between us, Absolute Tabletop and myself, is that they are world builders, and they can build on these wonderful macro scales with history and major characters and the dismembered lord that nobody knows much about, that everybody has been theory crafting about, and I just build these tiny little reserves and tell a story, and then I move on to something else. I'm like a 5-year-old high on pixie sticks. I can't really stay in one place for very long or I get bored, whereas Tim and James and all their buddies are coming up with these giant world-weaving epic storylines, campaign settings of awesome, Every time I interact with them, I feel like I'm sitting at the big kids table. Let's see, OGL, yeah, gotta have that. Table of contents, how to use the book, cheating death, myth and bloodshed, boons. Boons like magic or boons like objects? I don't know. And I imagine the artwork is original if you're going to be selling this. Her dress is made of paper. I love it until there's a bad rainstorm. Then I love it even more. Let's see. A foreword with a nice seal from Tim and James. Sundira Compress. I don't know what that is. The year of the hero continues without compromise. We challenge you to stop being a bystander and join the Copper Jackals. Started with a single sentence. It's like the Expendables, but with swords and magic. I love it. Okay. It grew out of the desire to allow any player of any experience level or commitment level to jump into one of our sessions and feel the chemistry and camaraderie that we love so much about tabletop RPGs. That's debatable, because commitment level can be really big when it comes to role-playing. So I'm not saying that you're going to have like LARPers and thespians and then, the jock and his girlfriend that don't know what the hell's going on, but I don't know. Let's see. The Copper Jackals are part of an overarching intelligence network of interlinked groups called chapters. Okay? Perfectly reasonable to give your Copper Jackal players access to key pieces of intelligence at the beginning of a mission. It's a built-in way to provide some plot hooks at the start of a session in the style of a mission briefing. Makes sense. Okay. Cheating death. Okay, let's see. Lightfall was the death of hope. In Dragon Grin, evil reigns. The forces of good were decimated by the forces of darkness, falling to the military might of the dismembered lord in a series of catastrophic events known as the Lightfall. The hand of the dismembered lord extends over the realm even today, and a shadow of his empire spreads like a sickness in the region of Grin. Okay, so it's like World War II if Hitler won. Got it. Amid the shadows, a copper sun rises, points to the dim sanctuary, persist in a land of long, gnarled shadows, the greatest of which is the copper sun, a city that floats high above the terrors of the land. It is the capital city of the region of Innis, and though ransacked and cast earthbound during the Lightfall, it is being rebuilt in secret. That must be hard to do. I wonder if it's out in the middle of a desert or something where nobody can find it. So Innis is a region. See, I guess I didn't grasp that when I was playing the Ironheart of Innis. I thought it was like a county or a country or something, but it's like a whole section of the world. Got it. Okay. Being a hero will get you killed. Heroes are not welcome as they bring unwanted attention and retribution from the forces of darkness. They fight a battle most consider already lost. Makes sense. Diary of Anne Frank stuff going on. Gotcha. By and large, the common people in Grin do not welcome heroes readily, for they have witnessed the draconian punishment of the dismembered lord firsthand. Those who choose to take action against the evils of the land often do so alone. Many are quick to meet their own deaths or worse. Those resilient enough to persist catch the attention of one of the few revolutionary organizations that operate in insubordination of the dismembered lord, the Copper Jackals, the Peacemakers, or the Undying Light, to name a few. Okay. The bleak is a festering magical maelstrom and the source of arcane power. It is a physical force of nature that mars the land endlessly. So it's Venus out there. Gotcha. Cool. I like that. I like when there are like large, like magical calamity locations where it changes all the rules, whether that be gravity or weather or the effects of spells or lack thereof. It's always good to have unique landscapes besides like the forest, the desert, the city. The bleak sounds like an interesting place. Is the direct result of a laceration in eminence itself, bleeding the bleak into the material plane from a greater planar wound eons old. The bleak is more active and tangible in Dragon Grin than most realms, mostly prominent above the oceans of the realm of common. Oh, okay, it's an ocean storm. Commonly brings its unpredictable and destructive tempests to land masses. Okay, I take it back. Of the realm in the form of bleak storms and bleak rifts. Gotcha. So the weather is bad. The world is bad. Everything is bad. The sundering has already happened. The existence of the gods is unproven. Holy crap, okay. No mortal knows if the gods truly exist, though many in Dragon Grin wield power that they believe is divine. Many temples and churches existed and thrived before Lightfall, though they are now much fewer in number, presumably because of the high risk that comes with proclaiming oneself as a beacon of faith. Okay, so religion got outlawed too. Why is this world not just dying out entirely? Dragon Grin is a graveyard of dragons. The word grin is Titan speak for graveyard. Okay. So your setting is called Dragon Graveyard. That is wrought with magical storms, a complete lack of any stable religion, and Hitler has won World War II, or the dismembered lord has won, and this world is just kind of withering on the vine. Okay. It's fascinating to see somebody else's lore. If I go quiet for a while, it's because I'm staring in fascination, because no two people make the same like fantastical lore for any fantastical setting that they make up. And like I said before, I make regions, and the people at Absolute Tabletop, they make worlds. So it's always interesting to see the special rules that go with somebody else's world. It's like freaking Detroit out here. It's like wearing blue shoes at night is going to get you stabbed, or apparently being part of a church is going to get you killed, or doing anything heroic. How would they know if they're heroes or not? Unless you run around saying, I'm a hero, haha. You know, you're a lawful, stupid paladin. I mean, how would they know to... What was that? Being a hero will get you killed. Well, unless you're wearing a t-shirt that says otherwise, that's kind of moot, isn't it? I mean, doing heroic things is fine, but nobody's going to point at you and say, yeah, you're a hero. And you know, just from first glance. I don't know. That might need to be expanded upon. The common people of Grin do not welcome heroes readily, for they have witnessed the draconian punishment. See, you wouldn't know that just looking at somebody. It's a little shaky logic there. Eons ago, the world was shaped by a bloody supernatural war. The old stories speak of two godlike opposing forces that shaped the world: the mighty, inspired Titans and the potent elemental primordials. These immense and powerful beings are said to have emerged from eminence itself, likely as manifestations of its strongest enemies. What is eminence? Oh, eminence is the most powerful force that exists, yet it is nearly impossible to wield. So it's like the Force? Well, no, people wield the Force. It's like... Oh, there are three primary sources of magic: arcane, divine, and eminence. Eminence is a pre-creation energy source of endless potential and raw primeval power. Oh, so it's the heart of the cards. It's the power of the human spirit from anime. That's what it is. Okay. It is formless, shapeless, from which all creation was birthed eons ago. Oh, okay, so it might just be God. Its secrets were long lost to history until recently. Now unearthed, it is volatile and untamable power holds limitless potential for those who can withstand it. Like an infinity stone, maybe? From eminence comes light, darkness, good, evil, everything in between. From eminence comes all those who know of eminence, rightly fear it, and those rare few who command it can become unstoppable. So it's like... I don't know. It's like chi or ki, or except it's not yourself. It's God. Okay. This is really fascinating. I just stopping to look at somebody else's setting, somebody else's rules. It's always so cool. Oh, that guy's got a Cthulhu helmet and a Cthulhu shield. Or is it an octopus? Relics of the past shape the present. Dragon Grin is dotted with inexplicable wonders traceable to a cryptic ancient past, be they geographic wonders such as the ancient caverns of Sphere below and the mechanical labyrinth known as the Deep Vault, or technological marvels such as the fusion of magic and technology called arcanics, or the animated steel repositories of information known as the Tome Hearts from the Iron Heart of Innis. In Dragon Grin, the wondrous past can often exist alongside the mundane in the land. See, I love settings that do this, like the mechanical age is over, now is the age of magic, or things like Ulduar, or the Dwemer, or where the world turns on a cylinder. It's like the age of light, the age of dark, you know, the age of mechanics, the age of magic, the age of elves, the age of men. And then it rotates again and it flops. So it goes technology, magic, back to technology, back to magic. And people have argued, even now, that in real life, that the world is in like its fifth age, and we've already forgotten how magic works. So we've turned to technology, and then when the world turns again, technology will fail us, and magic will return and stuff, and you know, druidic stuff, etc., that right now we are in an age of technology because man has forgotten how to use magic. So now we find relics of druidism and priests doing magical holy healings, and we hear stories about magic babies in Bethlehem that people still kill each other over, and then when the world turns again, they'll hear about, you know, flying metal birds that take people from place to place, and chariots that move without horses, and, you know, cylinders of metal that drop the force of the sun onto cities, etc. I love settings that do that. Like Ulduar in World of Warcraft was full of ancient technology, or the Dwemer ruins, which I guess are the dwarves in the Elder Scrolls series. They were all about steam power and mechanical goddamn spiders and things like that. I love settings that do that. Let's see. Myth and Bloodshed. First and foremost, the dark corners. This book isn't meant to fill in every blank space. We learned early on when creating the Copper Jackals that the concept that inspired people most was customization. Players were set ablaze with creativity, excitedly bringing their own Copper Jackals to life, and we don't want that to stop. There are some things in this book that are specific, but others are broad strokes that, by design, the Copper Jackals are a living myth. That is how it should be. We purposely left some dark corners unexplored, but that is where you come in. The Copper Jackals are everywhere and nowhere. They're a living legend, and they're saving the world because of the life you bring to them. This supplement isn't a complete map of the Copper Jackals. It's an enigmatic and incomplete relic with a portion unearthed, begging to be dug up by you. There's no quantifiable way to define a legend, but together we'll try. Okay, so you guys have been dabbling in the literature of like the epic hero. I mean, like the traditional, like, long poem epic hero. Okay. Let's see. The Jackals of the Titans. Though the Copper Jackals have been active for only a handful of decades, their legacy stretches much further than that, to a time long forgotten. Scattered legends speak of beings that existed centuries ago, biologically crafted by the Titans themselves. Their name, translated roughly from Titan speak, reads literally as metallic dogs of strife. Some scholars argue that this is a rudimentary translation using the context of other Titan texts, should actually be read as copper beasts of war making. Oh wow, you guys go all the way back. And again, the guys at Absolute Tabletop are my polar opposite, because if it's not like immediately relevant, I don't worry about it or I hand wave it. These guys have got a whole tapestry of history about these people and where they come from and why. This is why I feel like I'm at the big kids table when I'm playing with these people. They've got it all thought out. While the history of the Copper Jackals remains largely fragmented and speculative, there are several certainties. The organization was founded by a figure known only as the First Jackal, who has stood as the head of the organization since its inception. Nobody is certain how long the Copper Jackals have been operating, but they only appeared actively in Dragon Grin in the last couple of decades, emerging shortly after Lightfall. The first incarnation of the Copper Jackals consists of the First Jackal and 12 comrades. Like the 12 paladins of Charlemagne's court. So you had Charlemagne and his 12 paladins, whose deeds were largely fictitious but were meant to frighten the Mongolian hordes. So I like the historical context. That's kind of cool. I like that. Many consider this first generation to be the strongest Copper Jackals. Please tell me they're not Jedis, that they had wives and children. Having the purest and rarest Titan copper possessed by creatures outside. Let me read that again. Many consider this first generation to be the strongest Copper Jackals, having had the purest and rarest Titan copper possessed by creatures outside the Titans at their disposal. So they had weapons made of special copper. Copper's a relatively soft metal on the scale of metals, isn't it? That's why we use it for air conditioners. It expands and contracts really easily. It's easy to mold. As far as metals go, it's still metal. But I may want to read more about exactly what makes their weapons so special. Some say that the Prime Jackals were nothing more than a brutal mob of killers, a brutal mob of 13 guys. I think that's a posse. Who used their powers to save their own necks while the world around them fell. Well, there's only 13 of them. They're not going to be saving the whole damn world when mega dismembered Lord Super Hitler is wrecking everything. Others say they were noble heroes with a powerful sense of justice who will never get the recognition they deserve, probably because they don't want it, and they don't want to publish their plans on the evening news, or not the evening news, but amongst the people, so that their enemies get a hold of what they're like. Better to be in the shadows like Batman, so you're a little more respected, because they don't know quite what you're going to do. No matter what you believe, it is difficult to argue that the Prime Jackals aren't some of the most powerful mortals ever to exist in Dragongrin. It's rumored that the Prime Jackals have resurrected an ancient piece of Titan technology, semicolon. An enormous flying vessel that's lovingly called the Titan's Maelstrom. Take lovingly out. Take that word out. Some even call it the Copper Maelstrom as a tongue-in-cheek reference to the organization's naming convention. A prevailing recent rumor is that the Titan's Maelstrom is grounded, crash-landed in a location unknown to most. Well, damn, everything that was in the sky has fallen to the ground. If this were true, the Copper Jackals would be in a very vulnerable position and most likely scrambling to get the ancient ship airworthy once again. There better be a picture of this ship in this book. Because if you're going to have legendary airships, I damn well better get a picture of it. Let's see. The source of Titan Copper. Yes, tell me about Titan Copper. Titan Copper is extremely rare and invaluable. It is integral to the Copper Jackals, used to create the only unifying feature of the Copper Jackals, their Jackal Bites. Jackal Bites are powerful, varied insignias composed of the rare mystical Titan Copper. It's clear that whoever the first Jackal was, he or she is the source from which most Titan Copper is disseminated. I don't know what that word means. Use smaller words, Tim. Titan Copper is nearly impossible to find and is often in small quantities. Though the first Jackal seems to have plenty. Well, then it's not impossible to find, is it? This could be more evidence to support that he or she has Titan technology and is able to create the substance. Though that can't be proven. Evidence also points to a device that is able to track all Titan Copper that exists in Dragongrin, allowing the first Jackal to know where every Copper Jackal is, though no one can know for sure. That would be an interesting mechanic if that Dragon Ball radar ever went missing or got stolen to hunt down the Copper Jackals because of the weapons they're carrying. Or if it can be created, if it's like a Philosopher's Stone, or if it's just that person. That's really cool. I like that. Let's see. It's also been said that the first Jackal has the ability to cut off the mystical powers of any of the Titan Copper disseminated by him, rendering the metal powerless from a master source that he possesses, though the existence of rogue Jackals seems to go against this theory. So they're like Green Lanterns. I love it. So they have weapons made of special copper that is only special because their boss says that it's special. And that power can apparently be cut off, but not really, because there are rogue Jackals. Okay. The Copper Legion. Oh God, please tell me that's a tattoo. Is that a man or a woman? I can't tell. Might be a woman, all that hair. Copper Legion. In the wake of the Copper Jackals formally receiving recruits, a portion of the original members decided they did not want to be a part of this unsanctioned rebellious force and chose to return to the last beacon of good in the realms, the capital city of Innis, the Copper Sun. It is said that the first Jackal allowed this to occur because it was his brother who led the open separation. Okay, Tim, you refer to or Tim and James, everybody, you referred to the first Jackal as genderless for a while, and now you're referring to it as definitively male. So if you're going to play the we're not sure anything, it could be a he or a she, you've got to carry that through the whole book. Otherwise it's just going to be called him, because you say his brother. The first jackal, even though he disagreed, gave his brother enough Titan copper to allow for the recruitment of others into the Copper Legion. Though limited in number, it now operates as an honor guard of elite warriors of the Copper Sun. Much more militant, structured, and regimented than their Copper Jackal brethren. With the full support of the Copper Sun behind them, the Copper Legion had become mounted, flying peacekeepers in the land of Dragongrin, rearing a training winged wolf-bull hybrid known as Halifons. Scary. Public perception of the Copper Jackals. Do the Copper Jackals exist? No. Not to the sane people in the Rim, especially in the face of so many atrocities. Well, their city did crash to the ground somewhere, and their ship hasn't been airborne in a while, so maybe they passed into myth. To many, due to their own covert nature and unfortunate scarcity, the Copper Jackals are a myth, a fairy tale for the foolhardy. They're Jedi! Okay. They're people with impossible magic weapons that wield a force from beyond the veil that are few and far between, etc., etc. They're Jedi. Okay. That's cool. I love it. And they have a master, a first jackal, a jackal master, if you will. Love it. Okay. In some areas, Copper Jackals are recognized as wanted criminals. In other regions, they're treated as folk heroes. Yeah, okay. Seemingly nowhere and everywhere at once, the Copper Jackals purposely remained a clandestine organization. I don't know that word either. Gosh. So they can operate quickly and safely outside any sanctioned government in Dragongrim without compromise. So they're peacekeepers. They're Jedis. Grit and dispersal. The timeline below is measured in the years before the reign of Grin and the years after the reign of Grin. Plague, Lightfall, when the world went to shit, apparently. The Scattering and the Prime Jackals. I was about to say, you've got a timeline that takes place over less than 3 years. That's not much of a timeline. There's more down here. Okay, Titan's Maelstrom. Recruitment begins the March of the Harbingers. As the Jackals gain prominence, a blood-soaked shadow of the past lurches into the present. The Harbingers, legendary beings of war and malice, return to Dragongrin and march under the banners of the dismembered Lord. The Copper Jackals are advised by the first Jackal not to engage a Harbinger unless absolutely necessary, and to only confront them with superior numbers. So those are the Sith Lords. Gotcha. Okay. Creation of chapters, Iron Skin Orc invasion, the reclaiming the Sunderer. A task force of Jackals infiltrates the Black Iron Spire, a stronghold of the dismembered Lord, to reclaim the Sunderer, a mighty Vastek hammer crafted by the Titans. The hammer is retrieved and bestowed to the Prime Jackals. Though the mission is successful, the cost is great. One Jackal chapter head Zerd Al-Rim of the Sand Phantoms is captured by the Harbingers. What else we got? The Black Steel Jackal. The fate of Lord Zerd Al-Rim is the former leader of the Sand Phantom is made known to the Copper Jackals as he emerges as the Black Steel Jackal. Tortured and mutilated, he is rebuilt by the Harbingers of Grin using primordial rituals imbued with the power of ancient beasts and fused with black steel, the metal of the Harbingers. Despite the deep brands and scars in the inky black war paint, the Black Steel Jackal is unmistakably the hero once called Zerd Al-Rim. Now he helps the Harbingers locate, detain, and murder his former comrades. Okay, let's see. Rise of the Lich Fiends. The long-forgotten Lich Lord Vorgil Dracus gathers a coven of murderers murderous followers who would stop at nothing to see their master rise again. These zealots, under Draco's sway, have allowed its necromantic essence to soak into their being, transforming them into creatures called Lich Fiends. Led by Litchfield Claxton, they are nearly unstoppable, sacrificing numerous innocents to appease their master. The Copper Jackals chapter with Unfallen is formed to fight fire with fire, and they are victorious. I like the art here. He's got crystals sticking out of him. Hierarchy of chapters, Beheed chapters. So their hierarchy, there's the same lady again. The hierarchy gets laid out. Good. Squads, chapter dues. Copper Jackal chapters are expected to fund themselves and support their members, but it's mandatory that 10% of all of their earnings go to the Prime Jackals. These funds go towards supporting the faction as a whole and maintaining the secrecy and protection of its leadership. So you have to pay a tithe. You have to pay a tithe to be a Copper Jackal. Though I guess I can't talk. Most churches nowadays, God just wants 10%. I guess that's what we're doing with the Copper Jackals too. Can Copper Jackals fight each other? Well, I imagine so. Physical altercations between jackals are discouraged, though they do occur. Many turn a blind eye while two jackals settle what needs to be settled. Bets are not also uncommon, typically resulting in a pile of coins near the tussle for whomever emerges victorious. The intentional use of lethal force upon a copper jackal by a comrade is not permitted. It is considered a violation of the Copper Vow. Oh, did I miss the Copper Vow? I might have. Violators of this tenet are dealt with harshly by chapter heads or by the besieged in extreme cases. Okay. Oh, God damn. Do chapters ever come into conflict with each other? What happens if you want to leave? What happens if you leave the Copper Jackals altogether? In very rare instances, you'll be permitted to leave the Copper Jackals, but it's uncommon. It requires the blessing of your chapter head, a fellow chapter member, and the first Jackal himself. If granted a chance to leave, you must survive the removal of your Titan Copper. If you leave, you may never return, and for the rest of your days, the besieged will always be watching. Chapters working together. Can members of different chapters go on missions together, and does this happen often? Frequently and purposely. Good. Uniforms. There are no standardized uniforms. Well, I hope not. They're a secret organization. Membership is based on merit. Well, I guess I'm out. Let's see. Creating a Copper Jackal. Oh, is it a class? Minting, chapter initiation, Copper Boon. Oh, so boons are like their feats, I guess. Okay. 3 elements of the Copper Jackal faction class are Copper Attunement, communication benefits granted by your Jackal Bite, abilities granted to your Jackal Bite, and benefits granted. So, communication, abilities, and benefits. Got it. And then archetypes. Copper Jackal progression and overview. Copper Jackals have noticed your scout. Oh, okay, so these are all the... It's like the rogue tricks and the paladin boons and things like that. So Copper Jackal is like a class for this particular setting. I get you. Which is why there's archetypes, which is why it's like saying paladin, it's like saying Jedi. Copper Jackal is a class layout. Okay. A minting. A minting is a specific mission to prove your worth as a Copper Jackal recruit. It is a crucible of danger and obstacles, all begging for you to fail becoming a Copper Jackal. In most cases, a minting mission is given by a simple cryptic letter. Terse and veiled, the letter rarely has more than a sentence, and the recruit has to figure out what to do next. Wow, you guys That's rough. I want you to go on this really hard mission, but I'm not going to tell you much about it. Good luck. No wonder they're so few and far between. The letter could contain a person's name, a location, or even a song title or a single word, or it may not be a letter at all. The recruit must figure this out, and so begins their minting. Minting missions, I like that word, that's a good word to use. Minting missions vary greatly from individual to individual, but they are hand-selected for the candidate. So this is not a go kill 10 goblins kind of thing. While they have varied in many ways, they all have these things in common. You must go on a journey, you must right a wrong, and you must confront but not necessarily overcome something about yourself. A fear, a flaw, a long-buried secret, or etc. Upon completing your minting mission successfully, your raw copper chunk undergoes a transformation. What was once a jagged, unworked chunk will now be a deliberate and perfectly formed copper coin, blank on both sides. Hi, Titan. Minting sessions are not only designed to test if you've got the metal to become a copper jackal, but also examine your temperament, skill set, competencies, and flaws. Who you show yourself to be during your minting directly affects your placement. Recruits become initiates into specific chapters, and upon completing your minting, you are invited into one or more chapters that could use you. Okay, so they have... If you want to sit in my lap, you're going to have to come over here. I'm not going to get up and play with you. Come here. No, guess not. Let's see, chapter initiation, living quarters, equipment, the mechanics of chapters. At character level 4, upon being recruited and minted, you are initiated into the Copper Jackals chapter. I feel like there could be a whole campaign just getting into this. It's very complicated. Chapters are highly adaptable and completely autonomous teams with a broad array of special skills and precise missions. Well, if they have a broad array of special skills for precise missions, then why did it say earlier that the way you act will decide which chapter you're in? Because if you've got a certain set of skills, wouldn't you only be in a... I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, by level 5, in addition to giving you a place to belong, your chapter grants you your chapter renown. It represents your specialized training within a chapter, granting you benefits in the interaction and exploration pillars of the game, whereas copper boons augment the combat pillar. Okay. The copper vow, here we go. Okay. Honorable beyond honor without compromise. Courageous beyond circumstance without compromise. Unprejudiced and just without compromise. Loyal unto death and beyond without compromise. Ours is the unseen kingdom, and we are its warrior kings. Sundera Compras, forever without compromise. Note, Sundera Compras, pronounced Sundera Compras, is Titan speak, translating roughly to forever without compromise. I don't know, sounds like you're dealing in absolutes, and only Sith deal in absolutes. Hang on a sec. Okay, sorry about that. My camera ran out of space. I had to deposit everything on my computer so I can keep going. Okay, let's see. Who enforces the Copper Vow? Usually breaking the Copper Vow is handled at a chapter level, and punishments can vary greatly depending on the severity of the action. Chapters are given liberties to mete out their own justice and given their own order. Keep their own order. In rare cases, chapter heads may contact the Prime Jackals for intervention that they deem necessary. In extreme cases, the special enforcers known as the Besieged are dispatched to deal with grievous vow breakers and deserters. So be honorable, which is subject to definition. Be courageous, which is again subject to definition. Unprejudiced. Again, kind of, it's hard to prove something like that in something like a tabletop game. I don't know. Loyal unto death and beyond. How do you keep track of somebody beyond death? Does their ghost have to be honorable, courageous, and unprejudiced? What if you die and you go to heaven and you want your version of heaven is that you live in a mansion and all of your servants are busty, topless Asian chicks? I mean, I don't... Is that prejudiced or no, that's just racist, isn't it? Ours is the unseen kingdom and we are its warrior kings. Without compromise. That's kind of a dangerous way of thinking. I mean, uncompromising people are people like Batman and Rorschach and Sith lords and things like that. This is a very like rough and tumble philosophy to be following. Courageous beyond circumstance. There has to be a circumstance for you to be courageous. I don't quite understand the implication there. There's a difference between being courageous and being reckless, and that's a fine line to travel. Honorable beyond honor. See, I'm going to have this explained to me or expanded. You might want to dedicate like a whole page to the Copper Vow, because a bunch of this feels debatable and kind of vague, which I'm sure is the point and is kind of open to interpretation, not unlike a Paladin code, which other than like don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, is usually open to interpretation and arguments, or like the alignment chart. What's the difference between true neutral and lawful neutral, or chaotic neutral and different stuff like that, the ones that are really close together that people argue about all the time. And God, Tim, you should go visit my alignment argument video. I think that's one of my most popular videos, and it's just full of comments, like hundreds of comments of people telling me I'm wrong and this is what it actually means. The Copper Vow, I think, needs work and expansion, just because a lot of this is either open to interpretation, completely debatable, or sounds like you're talking about a Sith Lord. So, I don't know. The Copper Vow kind of bothers me. Being without compromise can make you come across as authoritarian, and I don't think that's what you're going for here. Without compromise... Oh, maybe that's right here. To be clear, the Copper Tenets are not intended to eliminate a Copper Jackal's ability to compromise altogether. You could have fooled me. When a Jackal is repeating the phrase without compromise, it is directly related to the tenet which it follows. The Copper Vow should be only considered if a Jackal's honor, courage, fair judgment, or loyalty comes into question. I'm not sure if you mean considered. I wonder if you mean consulted, because you've set out a series of tenets or commandments for these people that they're only looking at if one of them is being broken. I don't know, it sounds open to abuse. I feel like there should be more on the Copper Vow itself. Even if you have to go like, honor beyond honor, and, do like a paragraph. And then courageous beyond circumstance, which to me doesn't make any sense, because circumstance has to be provided for you to be courageous. If there's no circumstance for you to be courageous, you can't be courageous beyond circumstance. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I would rework it just a bit, or expand upon it. Let's see. The Copper Vow in a morally gray campaign world. Not every campaign world has the same tone, feel, and accepted morals. As we said, the Copper Vow is designed to keep the good guys good, but what you define as good in your campaign world is entirely up to you. I see you covering your ass there, Absolute Tabletop. While the Copper Vow includes words like integrity and justice, does it? No, it doesn't. Those words are not in there. That's wrong. You may alter the level in which your Copper Vow is enforced. This could be a seed for conflict where some of the Copper Jackals are crusading to uphold the tenets of the vow, while others allow them to decay and weaken. While this isn't our preferred flavor for Dragon Grin, the option exists and may work best for you. Again, we kind of allude to the paladins of Charlemagne's court, where there are 12 of them trying to put their holy commandments onto others, and you even use the word crusade here. If nothing else, read up on the paladins of Charlemagne's court, because there's quite a few parallels here, and they're very nice. I like them. You might get further inspiration there. What is a jackal bite? It is the mark that each copper jackal is imbued with upon completing the Copper Vow. It is formed using the same piece of Titan copper you possessed since your recruitment, first as a chunk, then as a coin, now as a brand that will mark you as a copper jackal forever. When a jackal bite is given, the Titan copper is fused with your anatomy, becoming a living part of you, virtually impossible to separate, growing with you and enhancing your ability. It is more than an insignia. It is a semi-sentient physical symbol of your undying commitment and grants you many of your special abilities. Examples: physical manifestations, piercing, tattoo, equipment such as a gauntlet or a mask. I'm hoping it's not a mask if you can't take it off. Hardened or fluid metal embedded just beneath the flesh, so your blood can turn into copper. Great. A mist of copper energy creating an aura around you. That'd be really odd to look at. Just forever, you look like you're in a mist of copper. Huh. And if energy glows, you'd never have a dark night's sleep. Let's see. Replacing a body part, such as an arm, a leg, an eye, or fingers. I'm hoping you're missing those things first, and it doesn't just chop your foot off and replace it with a copper foot. Encasing an existing body part. Okay, there it is. Such as a tooth or a hand. Jewelry, such as a ring or a necklace, which again you apparently cannot take off. It is because it is fused to your anatomy, so you can have a ring or a necklace fused to your body. A symbolic manifestation such as stitches woven through a scar, of viscous copper war paint, an internal jackal bite showing through as it glows, embedded in fine strands replacing the hair or the scalp of a beard. That'd be kind of cool. Okay. Ooh, okay, cool. I like the tattoo. That's neat. Glowing tattoos are always fun, regardless of the setting. Let's see. Let's see what else. Boons. Attunement. Attunement beacons. Any mage in Dragon Grin knows that there are 3 sources of magic: arcane, divine, and eminence. While the arcane and divine forms magic are well known, eminence is far more curious and treacherous. Yeah, it's the key of God. We went over that earlier. Those who wield the alloy of eminence are the smiths of creation and destruction. Initiation. You must tap into eminence and successfully cast a spell that has never been cast before. By you or by anybody, because that's 2 completely different challenges. It's like Twilight Sparkle could only become an alicorn because she finished Starswool the Bearded's spell that never got cast before. Does that mean if you've never cast Fireball before, if you cast a Fireball with Eminence, then you get this, or does it have to be like something nobody's ever seen before? Because depending on where you are in a civilization's history, that can be kind of difficult. Okay. Alloy of Eminence. Arcanites. Arcanics of Nil. Forged in the flitting sparks of ingenuity and born out of the smoldering forge. Oh, so these are like the chapters, the groups that you can be a part of. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So you don't have to make up your own Copper Jackal group. They've already got several in here. Arcanics of Nil, the Atlas of Eternity. In the book of the world's history, each jackal is a living page. The Atlas is devoted to this philosophy and serves as master historians, scholars, and intellectuals. Okay, that's cool. The Black Octave exist in a place beyond even shadow and are nothing but a dreadful song that can't quite be placed, stuck in the minds of their targets. Outside a select few copper jackals, the only creatures in the realm who can confirm the existence of this chapter of cutthroats, assassins, and silent blades are their targets, who breathe their last watching the shadow that slew them skulk away. Huh. So they're ninjas. Ninja copper jackals with glowing tattoos. I don't... Well, it doesn't have to be a tattoo. It can be anything, I guess. They don't seem like a ninja culture to me. I mean, I get it. You need to include the fighters. You need to include the wizards that use eminence, and you need to include like the thieves, like the Holy Trinity. You need to have a chapter for each of them. I get it. That is a good name, though. The Black Octave. I wonder if they play the brown noise. The Bleak Treaders. Roving nautical rangers of the darkest magical reaches of the bleak. Roving arcane rangers of the oceans of Dragonrend who sail the bleak. A maelstrom of crimson arcane energy over the ocean. They protect the shores of the realms from the magically twisted and often monstrous things that escape the bleak's darkest depths. Okay, so rangers and sailors, got it. Blood Riders of the Nightfall, surviving remnant of honorable mounted sellswords. Those three words don't seem like they go together. Honorable, mounted, and sellswords that existed before Lightfall, known as the Pale Riders. The best mounted combatants in all of Dragon, they were famed for their beautiful flanking maneuvers and mounted feints. So you fake like you're riding in one direction, then you ride the other way. Betrayed and left for dead during the events of the Lightfall. All of them were betrayed and left for dead. The surviving members formed this chapter, donning blood-red uniforms to honor the spilled blood of their brethren. Betrayed and left for dead by whom? And how many of them were there when all of them were betrayed and left for dead? Because I get it, there's 13 prime jackals, but this is like a whole chapter, and I'm not real clear on how big or small the chapters are. So you left all of this chapter of people betrayed and left for dead. I'm being picky, sorry. Motto, death rides with us, okay. Initiation. You are dragged behind a stampeding horse for up to 5 miles. If you can successfully mount the horse and bring it to heel before the end of that stretch, you prove you have the tenacity and beast-taming skills to join the Blood Riders. Or you knock your fucking head 2 seconds in and die. That was how they killed people. That was an execution style in the Middle Ages. They tie your ass to a horse and slap it on the ass, send it across a hard landscape till you died. Goodness. The chair kickers. I gotta hear all about them. Roving lawbringers who I don't know that word either, out justice to the guilty and protect the innocent. And their symbol is somebody being hanged. Chapter believes only those that taste death can truly be alive. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen in this book. I'm sorry. You mean only those who come close to death can appreciate living? The chair kickers act as judge, jury, and executioner in the field, then the preferred method of judgment to be hanging by the neck. The chair kickers are mainly fugitive hunters tracking down those wanted for the most heinous crimes, such as, murder, rape, torture, poison. Maybe expand that a little. In addition, they will go to the ends of the realms to protect those wrongfully accused. Motto, the gallows never lie. The gallows never... You mean... I don't understand that motto, I'm sorry. You mean you have done justice, you've hung somebody from the gallows, so the gallows are not lying because you hung someone there and they deserved it? Or... personifying the gallows doesn't make any... I don't like that motto. I can't even figure out how to say that I don't like it. It's just odd. Didn't make any sense to me. Okay. Initiation. You must hang by the neck until your life leaves you, if only for a moment. Okay then. Okay then. The Fire Ants. A group of arcanic, explosive, and demolition experts. Fight fire with fire, yes, but also fight everything else with fire too. This is where our fireball wizards goes. Initiation. You must prove that you have the understanding of arcanic explosive by successfully building and detonating a rudimentary arcanic bomb. Cool. Fulcrum and Him. They have a lot of chapter examples. This is great. Especially since they encourage cross-factional working together, all the different chapters working together for different reasons. You could have one player from 4 different chapters working together as a party, and they all come with their own backstories and cool things. I like that. Skilled, charismatic minds who do battle in the realm of politics. A tongue made of silver can be cold, a tongue made of copper deadly. Okay. The Light and Horror. A chapter devoted to the worship of the ancient eldritch gods seen beyond the 7 bleak wards, seen as outliers even among the other copper jackals. The Light of Horror devotes themselves to finding the long-lost resting place of eldritch creatures. Have you tried Under the Maelstrom? Beyond the material plane. Oh, okay. Feigning worship and eventually summoning them only to slay them and utilize their potent, aberrant energy for good. So you want to summon Cthulhu, kill him, and use his magic to do good things. Okay. Eldritch is a very implicative word, so you have to be careful using that. Let's see. Even the oldest and strongest creatures can come to know fear. I like that it's written in Sanskrit. That's good. That's a good detail. I like that. The Murdered Muse. The Night Huntsman. There's a lot of factions here. Onslaught. Okay, I think I've looked at enough factions. There must be like 20 of them here. Jeez, okay. The Vault Breakers. White Raven Retrieval. Copper boons. Copper boon manifestations. Okay. As you progress in your training as a copper jackal, you will develop powerful new abilities called copper boons. They are exceptional abilities of near impossible prowess granted by and channeled through your jackal bite. No two jackals are alike in the way their copper boons manifest, however all copper jackals eventually exhibit them. So these are like your feats, I guess. Manifestation rolls. You fall ill, feeling exhausted and feverish. When your fever breaks, you feel stronger. You study the jackals around you, trying to emulate and recreate their boons. You succeed to a degree, but you manifest differently than expected. Oh, so these are like magic powers that come at certain levels, and the events that precede them. Okay. The boons have been play-tested and hand-chosen to give this book a variety and longevity, allowing you to create any style of copper jackal you can imagine. The number of copper boon combinations is virtually endless, which brings us to a good point. The list of copper boons may seem daunting at first, but is divided up by easy-to-use categories and subcategories. Okay, so feats, got it. Assault, defense, eminence, subterfuge, mobility, support, and weapons. Got it. Okay. So these are like their feat charts. Copper sniper. I want to shoot further without disadvantage. You may add your dexterity bonus multiplied by 10, a maximum of range of 40 feet. Okay, so yeah, these are their feat charts. Lots of feats. Which is always good. I'd rather have more than less. And it looks like my battery's dying, so I may have to pick this up a bit later. But, archetypes, adversaries, traitors, and rivals. No stat books. A note for game masters. Okay, well, my battery's about to die, so I'm going to go ahead and call this one. Tim, James, you guys over at Absolute Tabletop, this was just my off-the-cuff reactions as far as things that I thought needed improving, what I was impressed with, etc., etc. Please use it as a tool, ignore it, do whatever you like. I was asked to have a look and give you guys my thoughts, so those were my thoughts. I didn't even look through the whole thing. I feel kind of bad, but my camera's about to die and I don't have much more time, so I hope that was helpful, whatever information you might glean out of this. So I'll see you guys later, and I'll do Deep Vault next, okay? Bye!